Hello everyone, welcome to Euron, and guys, in this lecture we are going to talk about a string. So a string is one of the significant chapter in any programming language, and this is something that we are going to discuss even with respect to a Python. So in this string chapter, guys, so let's see what we are going to discuss. So obviously we are going to talk about a basic of the string, like how we can try to create a string inside a Python. We are going to talk about even indexing and slicing with respect to a string. We are going to talk about immutability and mutability about a string, entering into a string. We are going to talk about some of the string inbuilt method. There are so many inbuilt method which is already available inside a string. But yeah, so we are going to talk about some of these string. We are going to talk about escape sequences, Unicode, and multi-line string formatting and templating inside a string. So let's get started, guys. I believe my screen is visible to all of you, and with the help of code, let's try to understand each and everything in a step-by-step manner. So here, first of all, what we can do is, so we can try to create a folder. Then inside the folder, I have created ipynb file, which is a Jupyter notebook file. And in this file, I'm going to write all the code. So here, let's suppose if I'm trying to create a string, so maybe I can try to use a double quotes over here, and then I can write Sudhanshu, and this is going to create a string. If I'm going to check what is the type of this S, so obviously type of this S is going to be str. Now, so let's say, so we are going to create another string with the S, and this time I'm going to use a single quote and I'm going to write Sudhanshu. Now, even if I'm going to check what is the type of this S, it is going to tell me a string. So we can try to use a double quotes, or we can try to use a single quote. Both is going to help me out in terms of creating a string. Now, let's suppose there is a case where, so I have, let's suppose, a string S1, and inside single quote or maybe double quote, I'm going to write don and don't, basically, right? Don't. Now here, as you can see that there is a single quote which is a part of the string, and then I'm trying to wrap it up even with the single quote. Now if I'm going to execute it, this is going to give me an error. This is telling me that it's a syntactical error that I have. So Python is not able to understand that where this string is going to end, and that's a problem with the Python, right? That's a problem with the Python. So how we are going to solve this problem? So here, if we have a single quote inside it, so we can try to wrap it up like with the double quotes. And in this case, in this way, it is going to solve my problem. Now it is not giving me any kind of a issue. So if there is a single quote which is a part of the string, you can try to wrap it up inside a double quote and vice versa. So vice versa wise. So let's suppose I have a S2 over here, and then if I'm writing like a don't, so don, and then like a double quote I'm trying to use, let's suppose hypothetically, then I can try to wrap it up with a single quote, and then this is going to work for me. Yeah, not otherwise. So if single quote is a part of your string, then wrap it up with the double quotes. If double quotes is a part of a string, then wrap it up with the single quote. So this is how you all will be able to create a string. Now, so here I'm going to create a string S, and then I'm going to store Euron inside this particular string. Now let's try to understand that how system try to interpret this Euron as a string internally. So whenever you are going to create this kind of a string, let me use my pen so that I can explain it to you. So whenever you are going to create a string called Euron, so internally system is going to hold it in this way, EURON, and automatically it is going to assign indexes for this particular Euron in this order. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So this is basically a forward way or forwarding order, and then in a backward order, so it is going to give -1, -2, then -3, and then -4, and then -5, and so on, if there is something which exists. So internally system is going to assign an indexes. Doesn't matter whether you are going to do something or not, but yeah, so if you are going to create a string, this is how system is going to store a string internally. Okay, so that's completely fine. This is how it is going to store. Now the question is that can we use all of these indexes? Can we do something with respect to this indexes? And yes, the answer is yes. We can use all of these indexes in terms of extracting a data out of this particular string. So maybe a single character, which is called as indexing, and maybe a multiple character at a time in a different kind of a sequences, which is called as slicing. So now we will try to understand that what is the exact meaning of a indexing and what is the exact meaning of a slicing. One by one, let's try to understand these two things. So here, when I say I'm going to perform the indexing operation, so I can try to write in this way. So S of basically, and then bracket, and then if I'm going to give 0, right? If I'm going to give 0. So what is a element which is available at index 0? So obviously the element is E, and this is what I'm able to get, right? This is what I'm able to get. So basically it is going to give me E over here from index 0. Again, so it's not just about a forward indexes. Maybe I can try to use even a backward indexes, and I will be able to extract information. Let me show you that part as well. So let's suppose if I'm going to write S of -1 over here, S of -1 over here. So yeah, it is trying to give me some data from -1th indexes. Automatically, it will be able to recognize. So this is something called as indexing operation. Let's suppose if I'm going to give maybe 100 over here. Now 100 is not a index, right? 100 is not an index which is available inside a given string, and it is going to give you an error for that reason. So here it is going to tell you that string index out of range. There is an index error you are going to receive if you are trying to perform an indexing operation on an index which doesn't even exist inside a string. So hope this is making sense to all of us. Now here, this part is completely fine. Now what we can do is, so we can try to perform maybe a slicing operation. So let me teach you how we can try to do a slicing operation with respect to a string. This is called as indexing, by the way. So from a particular indexes, we are trying to extract the data. Now let's suppose if someone is telling me that try to extract E and U together, right? So try to extract E and U together. How I will be able to extract E and U together? So obviously I can try to write S of 0 over here, which is going to give me E. And then if I'm going to write maybe S of 1, which is going to give me U. And then I can try to perform a concatenation operation. So 0 and then plus I can try to write S of 1. And then this is going to give me EU. Now this is one of the way. So with the help of concatenation operation, one by one, I'm trying to extract a data with the help of indexing, and then I'm trying to perform the concatenation operation, and finally I'm able to get my result. So whatever result which I was looking for. But again, there is another way as well. So the another way is called as basically a string slicing operation. So I can try to extract a slice of a particular string, just like a pizza slice. So I can try to extract a slice of a string from this entire Euron. So how? Let's try to understand it. And again, that part is pretty much easy. So here I can write that start from 0, right? Start from 0 and then go till what? So go till basically 2. Why 2? I'll tell you that reason, and then execute. Now here you are able to see that EU was the expected data which I was looking for, and yes, I'm able to get that particular data. Yeah, so EU was the expected data and I'm able to get this particular data. But what is the meaning of this S of 0 colon 2? Let's try to understand that part so that you all will be able to understand a slicing operation. So here when I say that start from 0, this is basically called as a starting point, and this is called as basically end point. So here when I say that start from 0, so it will start looking from a 0, it will try to go till 2, and it's a nature, it's an inbuilt character of this string slicing that whatever end point that you have given or whatever upper bound that you have given, it will always try to extract a data below that. Means if I have given 2, it will try to extract a data only till 1. This is what it does, by the way, right? So this is a inbuilt nature. This is the inbuilt property of a string slicing operation. There is no reason. People have just written a code in that way, and that's the reason. So we have to even behave accordingly. So here it is starting from 0, going till 2, and 2 minus 1, which is 1. So 0 and 1, it is able to extract. Similarly, I can try to write maybe like a other slicing operation over here. So maybe I can try to write down over here that S of start from 0 and then go till basically 3. Now I think we all understand that what it is going to do. So basically it is going to start from 0, it will go till 3, and 3 minus 1. So till 2, whatever data we have, it will try to extract those information. It will try to extract those data. So 3 minus 1, 2, and till 2 we have what? So EUR. So EUR is a data that we are able to extract out of this particular string. As simple as that. Now here, if I'm going to write S of start from 0 and then go till 100. Now, so you may expect an error as a beginner, but yeah, this is not going to give me an error. Let me tell you very clearly. So here it is going to give me this data. So in case of indexing operation, if that index is not available, then it is going to give you an error. But in case of slicing operation, so when you are trying to extract a range of the data, so it is going to start from 0. it will try to go till 100, but there is no 100. So whatever is a last data that we have, it will try to extract only till that point. And this is the reason we are able to see EURON in this particular place. So hope this is making sense to all of us that why this is going to work. So in case of slicing, doesn't matter whether that particular index is available or not, it is not going to give you any kind of a error. As simple as that. Now, so let's move ahead. Let's suppose someone has told me that try to extract E and R. I don't want U. So try to extract E and R together. So how I will be able to extract E and R together? Let's try to understand that particular part. So I'm going to write S of basically. So I start from 0 and then go till R, right? So R plus 1, which is 3. So I'm going to write 3. So it is able to extract EUR, but I'm not looking for U over here. I'm just looking for E and R. So after E, it is supposed to extract R directly. It is not supposed to give me U in between. So how I will be able to remove this U part out of this particular string? Let's try to understand. So here I can try to add one more parameter called as 2, for example, and this is giving me R. Now, what is the meaning of this 2, by the way? So meaning of this 2 is basically a step size. So a step size, STEP, a step or jump, you can say. So here I'm telling that start from 0. So okay, it will try to start from 0. So it will try to start E over here. Then it will try to take a jump. So 0 plus 2 is equals to 2. So it will try to extract a data from 2, which is R basically. So yes, it is able to start R. Then 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. Now 4 is beyond my upper bound that I have given. So it will never try to visit this particular 4. It will just try to extract a data till this point, and then it is going to terminate the entire process, entire operation. So this is how I will be able to get ER out of this entire information. Now let me take some different string and then let me show you some different kind of example over here. So here S is equals to, I'm going to consider SUDHNSHU Sudhanshu. Okay. Now we all know that how Sudhanshu will be stored inside a memory. So SUDHANSHU. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, and minus 9. So forward order and then the backward order. Now someone is asking me a question that try to extract SUDH. Yes, easy peasy way I will be able to extract SUDH. Yeah. So S of, I can start from 0 and then till H if I have to extract. So I'll go till H plus 1, which is 4, right? So 4. And then SUDH I will be able to extract. Now, just focus on one part. So when I said that I'm trying to give a jump is equal to 2, right? By default, there will be a jump or there will be a step size included over here, even if you are not giving it, and that is plus 1, positive 1 all the time. So here by default, so all the time, so it will try to start from 0, then 0 plus 1, then plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. And this is how it is going to parse this entire string. This is how it is going to visit the entire indexes of this particular string. Now, so here, let's suppose I'm able to extract this SUDH. Now, if someone is asking me a question that can you please try to extract this entire data into a reverse order? Right, into a reverse order, can you please try to extract a data? Means UHSNAHDUS. So in a complete reverse order, I have to extract the data. So yes, I will be able to extract a data in an easiest possible way because I can move through a forward indexes. I can move through a backward indexes. In both the direction, I will be able to move. So I can say that start from 8. Yeah, start from 8. And then maybe I can say that go till 0 and then execute. But here, so you will be able to see a blank, not an error. Now, what is the meaning of it? And this is where I generally used to take a scaling concept and then I used to explain this entire things to everyone. So let's draw a scale over here, right? And please try to understand this concept. Believe me, this concept is very much important. And once you are able to understand it for a lifetime, it will be with you. So here we have 0. Then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, let's suppose. And then minus 1, then minus 2, minus 3, -4, -5, -6, and so on, right? This is my scale, a negative and positive. Now here, what I'm trying to say, that start from 8 and go till 0. So start from where? Start from 8 and go till 0, towards 0, right? Go towards 0. And then by default, what is a step size? So where is a jump? So even though if I have not mentioned, by default, it will be +1, right? +1. +1 means jump into a positive direction. This is the meaning of +1, even though I have not mentioned it over here, but by default, jump is, or a step is basically +1. So jump into a positive direction. This is the positive direction of the scale, right? And the data is moving into a negative direction of the scale. Now there is a conflict, a direction conflict over here. And because of that, it is giving me blank over here. That's a reason. That's the reason I'm getting a blank in this particular place. Now, let me show you something like a different over here. So let's suppose if I'm going to write it down, the same thing, right? Same thing, maybe with -1. Now what will happen? We are able to get some data this time, right? So not the exact data which I was looking for. I was looking for a reverse of the string. And I believe still S is missing over here, right? S is missing over here. So we had SUDH NSHU. It was supposed to give me UHS and AHDUS. But S is missing over here. I'll be talking about S in a later stage. But before that, let's try to understand how it is able to give me a data. So concept is very simple, guys. So the same scaling concept. So here, what we are trying to say is that start from 8, go till 0. So start from 8, go till 0. So obviously this direction. And then try to take a jump, right? Try to take a jump in this direction itself, in a negative scale direction itself. And these two directions are same this time, which I'm trying to represent with my white line. So that's the reason we are able to get a data. So first it is trying to extract data from 8. So which is U, then 8 minus 1, 7, H, then 6 minus 1, or like 5, then this. When it will come over here, right? When it will come over here. So 1 minus 1 is equals to 0. But 0 is a upper bound that I have given. Yeah. So 0 is a upper bound that I have given. And because of that, right? Because of that, it is not able to give me a data. As simple as that. Because we know that whatever is the upper bound, it is not going to visit that particular place. And because of that, I'm not able to get S. So what is going to be a workaround for this one? Let me do some sort of a permutation combination. And let me show you that what could be the workaround to get the whole data. And again, I'm going to show you a easiest way as well. So instead of 0, maybe I can write -1. Let's see, right? Again, so blank, right? Again, blank. So when I say that move from 8 to -1, so basically it is trying to move in this direction. That's a problem internally. So 8 to -1, so it's moving into this direction basically. It is trying to follow. And then we are jumping into this negative direction. That's a problem. And there is a conflict. And because of that, again, we are not able to get a data. Let me do some sort of a modification once again. And you will be amazed, by the way. So here, I'm going to give -10 and then execute. Now see. I'm able to get the whole data, right? I'm able to get the whole data. When I'm saying like a -10, when I say -9, so again, there is some data which it is not able to capture. Means till 9 data, it is not able to capture. But when I'm giving -10, so yes, it is able to capture this data. And finally, I'm able to get the complete reverse of the string, which I was technically looking for, right? I was technically looking for. Now, so same operation, I will be able to do it again just by writing : -1. So I'm not giving a starting point. I'm not giving an end point, but still it is able to do a reverse of my string. Just by giving : -1, it is able to do a reverse of the string. I'm able to get my required data set. So it is able to set its starting point, it is able to set its end point automatically. I have just given a direction that just go into a negative direction, and it is able to extract the data in a easiest possible way. So this is more or less like a string slicing operation, guys. You will be able to slice any of this string. You can try to take a jump of maybe a step 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, whatever you want. You can try to take a jump. Wherever you get confused, just draw the scale and then try to understand. Believe me, you all will be able to understand it in a easiest possible way. So hope this string slicing is pretty much clear. to all of you. Now let's try to jump into our next section of this entire syllabus. So here we are going to talk about some of the inbuilt function which is available into a string. So one by one, I'll be talking about a couple of inbuilt function which is already available inside the string. For example, so if I'm writing a string e is equals to euron, Euron. Now if I'm going to write if I'm going to write s dot and then upper, so what will happen? It is going to convert my entire data into an uppercase. So there are so many, not so many I would say, but yeah, there are 20 plus inbuilt function which you will be able to find out with respect to a string. Now, so you are not supposed to remember all of these functions, but yeah, at least try to execute those functions at least for once, and then maybe you can try to leave it. That's completely fine. You all will be able to use it whenever it will be required. But yeah, this is how it is, things are going to work. So s dot upper, and it is going to convert your string data into an uppercase. But yeah, it is not going to make a changes into an original string. So original string is as it is unless and until you are not going to do some item assignment operation. If you are going to do an item assignment operation like s is equal to s dot upper, only in that situation it is going to make it permanent. Otherwise, it is not going to make it permanent. Another function is string dot lower. So it is going to convert your data into a lowercase. So upper is fine, lower is fine. Then there is another like a method called as capitalize. To do that, let me write SUDHNSHU Sudhanshu Kumar, KUMAR Kumar. Now, if I'm going to call string dot capitalize, what it is going to do, by the way. So if I have written Sudhanshu dot Kumar, you must be able to find out that it is trying to convert my very first character of my data, right, into a capital later. This is what capitalize does, right? Into an uppercase, it is going to convert, but for the very first one. There is another function called as title, and you will be able to find out a lot of similarity between title and capitalize. Now here, so title function is going to do what? So it is going to convert every letter's first character into an uppercase, whereas capitalize will convert only the first one. That's a difference you will be able to find out between a capitalize and a title one. Apart from that, there is no differences you will be able to find out ever. So there is a capitalize function, there is a title function. Now let me talk about a couple of more function over here. So there is a function called as, let's suppose I'm going to store like something called as EURN, E capital. Now here, so s dot, I'm going to call swap case. Swap case means, so whatever is available into an uppercase, convert it into a lowercase. Whatever is available into a lowercase, convert it into an uppercase. This is the meaning of a swap case as this function's name suggests. Fine, everyone? Okay, so let's try to understand a couple of more things over here. So there is something called as s dot case fold. Now what it is going to do, so whatever is available, right, whatever, whether it's available into an uppercase, whether it's available into a lowercase, it is going to normalize everything. It is going to convert everything into a lowercase. This is what a case fold operation is going to perform. Now, so uppercase is fine, upper is fine, lower is fine, swap case is fine, case fold is fine, capitalize is fine, title is fine. So all of these functions are basically a inbuilt function. Let's try to understand a couple of more inbuilt functions. So here I'm going to create a string s, and Euron is a edutech company. Let's suppose this is my string. And here, so if I'm writing find find, so find e if I'm going to write, yeah. So find e if I'm going to write. So what this find is going to return? So find is going to return a very first occurrence of the character or maybe a substring that you are looking for. Index of that it is going to return. For example, I'm looking for e, right? So e is available here, e is available here, e is available here. In 3 places e is available. But it is not going to return anything except for the very first one. So very first e that system is able to find out, it's available at which place? It's available at 0th index, right? 0th index. Indexing concept we have already discussed. So this is available at 0th indexes, and that is the reason. So it is giving me what? It is giving me basically a 0 over here. Simple. Now, let me show you a couple of more things over here, guys. So here s dot find. So let me close s dot find if I'm going to write s dot find, and here, so I'm going to write like ed. So this is basically a substring which I'm looking for. So it will start looking into this one, and wherever it will be able to find out ed combination, it is going to give you a very first index. Means it is going to give you index for very first character, which is 11. So E is available, E for ed is available at 11th indexes. You can do a calculation. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 11th. So a space is also considered as a indexes. So you will be able to find out at a 11th indexes E, which is like a, I'm looking for ed, right? So ed combination is available starting from 11th indexes, and this is what it's going to give it to me. Now let's suppose if I'm writing s dot find find and find find, and maybe I'm looking for something which is not available inside my string. So I'm looking for something which is not available inside my string. For example, sudh. Sudh is nowhere available inside my string. So in that situation, it is going to give you what? It is going to give you basically minus of 1. So this is what find is going to do. Now, so there is another function, counter function of this find called as index. So what index is going to give you? Index is going to give you again the indexes as its name suggests. So s dot, let's suppose index, index of ed, if I'm going to write. So it is going to give me the indexes. Now you will say that then what is the difference between like a index and a find? Because both is giving me the indexes and both is behaving in the exact same way. I can try to pass maybe a character, or I can try to pass maybe a substring, and for both character and substring, it is working fine, and it is going to give me the indexes. Then what is a difference between this index and basically this find function that we are talking about? Let me show you the difference, guys. And there is a very small differences you will be able to find out. So let's suppose if I'm looking for sudh here. Now, in case of find, when I was looking for sudh, and I know that sudh is not a part of my string, it was not giving me error, by the way. But here you will be able to find out that it is giving me an error in case of indexes. And that is the only difference. So in case of find, if it is not able to find out, then -1. In case of index, if it is not able to find out, then it is going to give you the error, a value error, substring is not found. So this is something that you will be able to find out differences between these two. Now there is another inbuilt function called as count, basically. So count. So here it is going to count how many times this particular string or substring is going to appear inside your given string. This is what this count function is going to perform. It's a very simple function. So s dot count, maybe I can like count e and d. So ed combination is available only once inside my string. So this is going to help you out in terms of counting the occurrences. That's it. So whatever times it is available, it is going to give you. Let's suppose if I'm writing s dot count and count what? So basically sudh. So how many times sudh is appearing? Again, it is going to give you 0, by the way. So yeah, it is going to give you 0, as you can see. So here count operation is going to count, index and find operation is going to find, going to return you the very first occurrence of the indexes. But yeah, so difference between index and a find function is index is going to give you error. If something is not available, find is going to give you -1 if something is not available. But yeah, these are the functions that you will be able to find out. Now, apart from that, there are some function you will be able to find out inside a string, which is going to start with is. So is alpha num, something like this, you will be able to find out a lot of functions, right? A lot of functions. Now, these functions are going to return you a Boolean value, true or false. It depends upon the condition. It is going to return you true and false. For example, so let's suppose I'm going to write s is equal to Euron. Now, s dot is alpha, if I'm going to write. So it is going to give me true, that yes, there is an alphabetic character which is available. Now, inside this string, I'm going to keep a space. Now it became false. So do we have only alpha? No, we have some space as well. A space is not considered as a alpha. So it is giving me basically false. If I'm going to remove like this space out of this one, then again it will become true. So this function, these kind of functions is been used to check. So based on the validation, based on the condition. Again, so is s dot is then maybe we can try to call a couple of other function. So is alpha num. Again, it is going to give me true. So basically it is going to check that whether this string is a combination of alphabetics and a numeric, means A to Z and 0 to 9. So yes, this is the combination of like alphanumeric. So it is going to give me basically this particular one. So likewise, there are so many functions, guys, you all will be able to find out with respect to a string, and which is going to eventually check the conditions, and based on the condition, it is going to give you true and false. And I strongly advise to all of you that please try to go through all of these functions at least once. And I have even given you the assignment. So please try to go through the assignment from your dashboard. You will be able to find out those assignments very much helpful in terms of revising the concept and in terms of challenging your own like a brain or your own knowledge. Now moving to the next, guys. So now let's talk about basically kind of a concept of immutability and entering, right? So what is the meaning of this immutability? What is the meaning of this entering? Let's try to understand that particular part. With respect to a string. So here I'm going to write s is equals to, let's suppose, euron, Euron. Okay. So s is equal to Euron. Now let's suppose if I'm going to use a function called as id. We all know that what id does. So id is going to give you the address, right? So basically id is going to give you the address of a particular object that you're going to store. So execute, and this is the address at which it is trying to store this particular data, this particular s, and inside that we have a Euron. So it's available at this particular address. Now here what we can do is that we can try to maybe like modify, we can try to like create something called as modify, modify, and then we can try to write s plus tech. Now, so modify is holding what kind of a data? So modify is holding Euron tech. This is what I have done, s plus. So I have done the concatenation operation, and this is what modify is trying to hold internally. Okay, so now if I'm going to check like what is the ID of modify, or what is basically an address of this modify. So it is going to give me 28274525. Now let's try to check with this one. So is it going to be same? So here, if you are going to do the comparison, it is not going to be same. It simply means that when you have created basically s is equals to Euron, so it's been stored in a different address, and then when you are trying to modify something, you are trying to concatenate something, so then it is going to be stored on a different address location. Now this is pretty much obvious. Obviously now you will say that like what's like you know why we are doing even this experimentation. It's pretty much obvious that both of this data is different, and both of this data is been stored into a different variable. One is in s and one is in modified. So obviously it is going to hold a different address. I do agree with you for that. But let me show you another example. So let's suppose a is equal to Dhanshu, right? And then b is equal to Dhanshu. So we have two variables, a and b. Yeah. So we have basically two variables, a and b. Now, if I'm going to check what is the ID of basically a, so this one, and what is the ID of basically b, so this one. Now just try to check. So we had two variables, right? We had two variables over here. One is a and one is b. So one is a and one is b. Now when you will try to check what is the ID, what is the address location for a and what is the address location for b. So basically this is address location and this looks same. Now what Python does is that, so whenever you are trying to store maybe SUDHANSHU, and whenever you are trying to store the similar kind of a data, which is like duplicate data, so it never try to allocate a new space. What it does is that it will try to point A, and then when it will be able to find out that, okay, it has to store B, and B is holding a same data, which is available in some of the variable or in some of the addresses. So it is just going to refer, it is just going to point B to that particular one. In this way, obviously, it is trying to save a memory as much as possible. But yeah, so this is the reason I was trying to explain you the previous example that here, so we have A and B and both is holding a same information, a same data. So now here, if you are going to check their addresses, this address is going to be same. So it is going to hold it inside a same location. Okay, now let's move ahead. Now this concept is called as entering. I'll come to this point once again, but yeah, let's try to understand something new over here. So let's suppose I have A, and if I'm going to extract a data from a 0th location of A, it is going to be S, right? It is going to be S. Now, so let's suppose I would like to change something. So instead of S, maybe I would like to use A, right? Instead of S, I would like to use A. It simply means that at A of 0th location, I don't want S. So what I want is I would like to maybe replace it with A. Is it possible? No, it's not possible. The reason is string object does not support item assignment. And this is where the concept of immutability comes into a picture. Means in a particular location, the location which has already been assigned, so I will not be able to change anything. I will not be able to replace it with anything, and that is something called as immutability. So a string is technically a immutable object, so you will not be able to modify something with respect to a string. Now, so here let's try to understand one more thing. So A, we have inside A, we have SUDH and SHU. ID of A, if I'm going to print ID of A is this one. Now, if I'm going to do A dot replace, there is a function called as replace, and I'm saying that replace S with A. Yeah. So replace S with A. Now, if I'm going to hold this data maybe into a variable C. So C is what? C is basically a data after a replacement, right? So I have replaced S with A. Now, if I'm going to check what is the ID of basically C over here. So ID of C and then ID of A, just go and check. So basically it has not changed something in the same location. When I said replace it with the help of replace function, so it is not replacing at the same location. What it is trying to do is it is trying to allocate a new location. So for C, as you can see, it has been stored at a complete new location. It is not trying to change in the same location. So it simply means once again that string is a immutable entity. You can't mutate it. You can't change something at a particular location. So hope this is making sense to all of you, right? Let me show you a couple of more example of entering, I-N-T-E-R-I-N-G, entering. So here, if I'm going to create a variable D, and then if I'm going to write SUDH and then like a plus ANSHU, right? Now D will become what? So sorry. So D will become what? So D will become Sudhanshu. I'm trying to perform a concatenation operation. Now, if I'm going to write E is equal to Sudhanshu, right? E is equal to Sudhanshu. Now let's try to check what is the ID of like a D. So what is the ID? Sorry, not A. So ID of basically D. And what is the ID of? What is the ID of basically E over here? ID of D and ID of E is exact same. So again, I'm talking about basically entering over here, I-N-T-E-R-I-N-G. I'm talking about basically what? I-N-T-E-R-I-N-G, entering concept. Entering concept simply says that if data is same inside a particular variable, means if data is already available, it is not going to create a duplicate one. What it will do is it will try to assign or it will try to refer to the same location, so that both can enjoy the same data at a same memory location without even creating a duplicate data at any point of a time. So this is the philosophy Python is going to follow. This philosophy is called as entering philosophy, by the way. Yeah. So immutability. So yes, strings is basically immutable. Entering concept, guys, we all are able to understand. Now let's move ahead and let's try to understand a couple of more concepts. So hope all of you are able to understand the inbuilt function. All of you are able to understand indexing and slicing operation. All of you are able to understand this entering. Now I'm going to show you a couple of more operations with respect to a string. Let's try to understand. So I'm going to explain you some of the escape character which is available inside a Python. So let's try to understand what is the meaning of escape character. So here, let's suppose if I'm going to write, right? If I'm going to write that my name is Sudhanshu Kumar and I used to teach Python and data science. This is something which I have written. Now, so it is printing everything into a single line. Yeah, it is printing everything into a single line. What I want is I don't want to print everything into a single line. So I want my name is Sudhanshu Kumar in one line, and then I want this entire line into a second line. So here, how I will be able to do that? So I can try to use a escape character. So one of the escape character is basically like a /n. So if I'm going to use /n, you will be able to see that this is going to create a new line. So wherever you have to create a new line, just try to place /n in between. And then let's suppose if I'm going to place /n over here, so it is going to again break it down into a new line. Yeah. So there's something called as new line escape character. Don't need to remember. It's a easy peasy one, I would say. Now there is another escape character called as tab T. So if I'm going to replace this n with T, So you will be able to find out that wherever I have used /t, which is again another escape character, it's called as escape character. So it is going to replace this /t with a tab. So 3 spaces, tab, which is available even inside your keyboard. So it is going to replace it with the tab. Now there is something called as \. So print print, and then I can write maybe double, sorry, not this, maybe just this. Sorry. Yeah, this one. And here, so you will be able to find out that it is converting a 2 / into a 1 /. Now, this is very much important and it's been useful when you are trying to read the data, especially into a Windows machine from some of your directory, some of your folder, which I'm going to use it like after some time. So wherever you are going to use a double, like a slash, backward slash, so it is going to print just 1. It is just going to consider 1. Now, where I can go and I can try to use it. So here, let's suppose I'm going to create a raw data variable called as raw data is equals to, let's suppose, a C drive. Okay. So C drive, this one, right? So let me remove, let me keep it short. So here, when I'm trying to read some of the folder, and let's suppose I have just copied a path. This is the path, right? This is the path where my something is available. Now, if I'm going to execute it, it is going to give me an error. It is going to give me a Unicode error. The reason is that Python is not able to interpret this location. Although this location is a valid location, but still Python will not be able to read it. There is a special way to read out these locations. So how I can do that? So you will be able to do it with the help of raw string. So you have to place R over here. And in this way, if you are going to parse it, then only you will be able to read this entire raw information, this entire raw data. Otherwise, you will not be able to read it. And as you can see that automatically displacing /////, you have given a single slash. Now, so if I'm going to print it, if I'm going to print this raw data, so raw data, if I'm going to print it, so single ////, this is how it is able to print. Now, this is very much important when you are trying to do some sort of operations, a directory based operation in case of a Windows machine. Now, alternative of this, right? Let me tell you alternative of this one. So here, instead of using maybe a R, which has been a representation of a raw data, I can try to use a double slash. 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 Now, if I'm using double slash, now if I'm going to print a raw data, if I'm going to print a raw data, so this is how it will look like, right? This is how it will look like. So this is equivalent to this one. So either you can use R over here, which is a raw data representation, or you can try to use, yeah. So, or you can try to use maybe a double slash, double backward slash, and then it is going to work in the exact same way. This is called as raw data at the end of the day. Okay, so this is pretty much like clear to every one of us. Now let's try to understand Unicode. So here we have seen there was an error with respect to Unicode, right? So when I was not placing this raw, when I was just giving like a ////, if I'm going to remove it, there was a Unicode error, right? There was a Unicode error. Now, what is the Unicode, by the way? So it's nothing but it's a special case character, which is a reserved one, which is already given inside a Python. So let's suppose if I have to maybe like create a smiley, right? If I have to create a smiley, so for a smiley, there are tons of smileys, right? There are thousands of smileys which is out there, or maybe a special case like symbols which is out there. So for everything, you will be able to find out a Unicode. How you can find out? So maybe you can go to Google, right? You can go to basically Google and then try to search for Unicode, or maybe Unicode for smiley face in Python. And it is going to give you a Unicode. Some of the Unicode it is going to give it to you. So now if I'm going to copy this, and then if I'm going to print it, you will be able to find out that I'm able to get this smiley. So for every smiley, there is a /u and there is a code which has been given. And from a internet, from a GPT, you will be able to get all of these things. So there are like a tons of different kind of symbols which you will be able to find out. So if you need it in your programming, in your Python, so you can go ahead and then you can try to use it. Again, there is a different symbol, as you can see, right? There is a different symbols. Now you can try to use all of these symbols if you are trying to build some of your application, right? Again, so alternative that is basically a Unicode. So these are the reserved Unicode that you will be able to find out. Now there is something called as named Unicode. So /n. So Unicode start with /u, capital or small, depends. And there is something called as /n. So /n is nothing but named Unicode. And here I'm trying to say Greek capital letter delta. Now execute. Here is a delta symbol that I'm able to get it, right? So here, if I'm going to print a Unicode named one, snowman, it is going to print this particular symbol. So this is the power of a Unicode. You will be able to call any symbol that you want, and then you can try to basically use it. Fine. So everyone, okay. So Unicode is fine, and so many concepts that we have discussed in this chapter. Now let's try to understand multi-line string. So here, if I'm going to write that my name is Sudhanshu, I used to teach Python, I am working with Euron, and yeah, so if I'm going to enclose it inside a quotes, now execute it, it is giving me an error saying that I'm not able to understand all of these other lines basically. So I have a multi-line string. So how I'm going to interpret this multi-line string? Now for a multi-line string, you have to keep everything not inside single double quote. So basically you have to keep it inside a triple double quote. So quote, 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 and then quote, quote, quote. Now execute. Now it is going to consider this as a single statement separated by /n. And we all know that what is the meaning of /n? /n meaning is a new line. So whenever you have a multiple line, please make sure that you are trying to enclose it within a triple quotes. If you are not going to enclose it within a triple quotes, then it is going to give you an error. And again, I'm going to use it even in function. So when I'm going to teach you like how to create a doc string at that point of a time, I'm going to teach you even this particular part. Okay. So this is how we can try to write a multiple line. There is another way as well. So let's suppose if I'm going to write maybe in this way. So my name is Sudhanshu, and then I'm going to give like a slash. And then I'm going to write like I used to teach Python, and then slash, and then I'm working with Euron. Now execute. Same thing, right? So even in this way, I can try to write, but the only difference that you will be able to find out that it is not placing /n in between. Yeah, it is not placing /n in between. It is trying to consider this entire line as a one single line, whereas it is trying to treat this as a multiple line with the /n. So if I'm going to print it, I will be able to get 3 lines over here. If I'm going to print this one, I will be able to get only 1 line over here. So that's a difference that you all will be able to find out at any point of a time. Okay, that's cool. That's great. Now let's try to understand next concept. And the next concept is basically string formatting. Yeah, string formatting. So let's try to understand what is a meaning of a string formatting, how we can try to perform a string formatting, how I can try to use a format function, or even without using a format function. So how I will be able to do a string formatting in a dynamic way. So here, let's suppose if I'm going to write a name, I'm going to write a line over here that print, my name is Tanshu Kumar. My age is 32. I'm working with Euron. Yeah. So this is the complete sentence. Now what I wanted to do is I would like to parameterize this name. I would like to parameterize this age, and I would like to parameterize this company name. Yeah. So I would like to mention this in a dynamic way, maybe for you. So that even you can use the same line and this age and this particular like company. So how I will be able to make it dynamic? As of now, it's a static one, right? It's a hard-coded one. It's a static one. So here I can try to create a variable and I can give a name, then age, and then I can try to give a company for now. Now, so how I can try to parameterize this entire one with this variable so that if you're going to change the variable name, it should change automatically. To do that, I can try to replace over here with F. F means formatting string, basically. So it is going to allow you. So how it is going to allow you, by the way? So just to replace this one, put a curly braces and then give a variable name. So in a runtime, it is going to replace this name with whatever data that you have. Now here, just replace this one with age. Yeah, just replace this one with age. So in a runtime, it is going to replace age with 32. Now just replace this one, right, with a company. company. Yeah. Now execute. You will be able to find out that my name is Dhanshu, age is 32, and then I'm working with Euron. So it is now a dynamic one. Now, if I would like to make it more dynamic, so when I'm going to execute it, it should ask for name, age, and company. I can do that as well. Let me copy. So let's copy this one. And here, so what I can do is I can try to use a function called as input. So input function is going to ask you to input a data in a real time. So enter your age, and then like here I'm going to use a input function. So enter your company. So it is going to ask you every time that enter your name, age, and company. Whatever name, age, and company value you are going to enter, it is going to print that one in a dynamic way, because I'm using a formatted string over here. So execute, and as you can see that it is asking me for my name on my tab bar right above. So my name is SUDH, enter your age, my age is 32, enter your company. So you are EURO, Yuri, let's suppose, right? So as you can see that it is capturing a name, age, and company, and then it is trying to replace it over here. Now, one special thing you all should know with respect to our input is that doesn't matter what you are going to input, right? If you're going to check the data type of name, age, and company, it will always be a string by default. Means whatever you are going to enter, even if you're going to enter a floating point number or maybe an integer, eventually it will try to convert each and everything, right? It will try to convert each and everything into a string. So if I'm going to enter 32, by default, it is going to convert it into a string. Now, I can do a typecasting. So I believe we all are aware about typecasting. So I can try to wrap it up with int, so that if it is a integer equivalent typecasting, it will be able to do it. Otherwise, it is going to give me the error. For example, enter your name, SUDH, enter your age. So I'm going to enter some string. Now, it will try to do a typecasting. It will try to convert this input into an integer, which I know it's an invalid one. Hit enter. As you can see that it is not able to convert. It is not able to convert. Now, let me execute once again. And here, so enter your name, SUDH, enter your age, maybe 34, and then enter your company, something. And here, so it is able to take this, and it is able to print it. So here we are able to learn even an input function, and we are able to learn even a formatted string, that what is basically a formatted string and how it is going to take it. Now, so instead of using this F over here, so I can try to use it even in a different way. How? So there is a function called as format function. I can try to use that format function, and then I will be like able to use the same thing. So here, let me remove this F part. Let me remove this F part, and then replace this with FORMAT format. So format name, age, and company. So as you can see, format name is equal to name. So this name, then age, and then company. So whatever data that you are going to enter, it's just an alternative, guys, nothing much, right? It's just an alternative of the previous operation that I've shown it to you. So here I'm going to enter my name, I'm going to enter my age, I'm going to enter my company, and eventually it is going to take those things, and then it is going to print it. So execute, and then name is equal to SUDH, age is equal to 32, and then company is equal to Yuri, and here, so it is able to print. So this is basically called as formatting, right? String formatting, simple. So just with the help of format function you can use it, or maybe with the help of F string you can try to use it. Either way, it's completely fine. Now there is something called as templating. So we are able to understand formatting in a dynamic way. We can try to pass a data. Now let's talk about templating over here. So to do or to experiment with templating, you have to import something from the string. So from a string, import template. Now what this template does, so this template is going to help you out in terms of creating a skeleton, right? In terms of creating a skeleton, and that skeleton you can try to use it anytime you want. For example, just like a very close to a format string, by the way. So here, if I'm going to call template, let's suppose I'm calling template, and I'm writing that my name is $name, my age is $age, I'm working with a company right? $company. So here, this is basically a placeholder. This is basically a placeholder. This is a template which I have created over here. This is basically a placeholder. Now, if this is just a template, right? This is just a template that I have created. Now I can try to call maybe a temp.substitute, and then I can try to enter name, age, and company. So whatever value which will be having inside a name variable, age variable, and a company variable. So this will be assigned over here. This will be assigned with the $. And then if you are going to check my temp temp. So this is the complete data that you will be able to get. So it is taking name, age, and company from the variable that I have already created, right? You can try to replace it. You can try to change it if you want. And then it is trying to substitute it. So wherever there is a dollar, dollar, dollar. So basically it is trying to give you that one. Now, what is the actual use case for that? This one? So the use case of this one is very simple. So let's suppose I'm trying to send a mail to a multiple people, but I'm trying to send a personalized mail where I have to mention a username, I have to mention their phone number, I have to mention their email ID, something like that, right? Which should be very much personalized to a user. So in that situation, what I can do is I can do a print, right? Because formatting is working fine, but yeah. So what I can do is I can try to create a template, a email template, and that template I will be using it. And inside the template, I can dynamically change the data with respect to the user input. And then that one I can try to send to my user. How? Let's try to understand that how I will be able to achieve that particular part. So here I'm going to show you that I will be creating a email ID template, TMPLAT, email ID template, TMPLAT, I'm going to call. And email ID template I'm going to create over here, guys. So multiple line string, yeah. And then here, so I'm going to create a from. So from is basically like a dollar sender, let's suppose, then receiver, and then I'm going to like create a subject, then I'm going to create a body. So this is basically a email template I have created, right? Email template I have created. So dynamically I can try to mention a sender, dynamically I can try to mention a receiver, dynamically I can try to mention a subject over here, dynamically I can try to mention a body in this particular place. So here what I can do is I can try to save it as a Euron underscore email underscore template, yeah, template. So this is a template in which I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it. And now if I have to send this Euron email template, so I can just call a substitute over here, and then I can try to give a sender value over here. So what is the sender value? So sender value is basically, let's suppose Sudhanshu@Euron.1. So it will be replaced in a real time. Or maybe I can try to pull it down from the database. Now, what is the receiver? So receiver, I'm going to give it as a sskumar@gmail.com. And then I can try to like create basically a subject, welcome to Euron, and then body Sudhanshu, welcome to Euron. And then I can try to close it. So this is going to be my substitute. This is going to be my data. This is going to be my data. Now this data, again, I'm trying to hard code it. But yeah, this data, I can try to even make it dynamic. Maybe I can try to take an input, enter your email ID, right? Execute. String object has nothing called as substitute. Okay, let me. String object has no attribute called as substitute, is it? It should not give me an error. Substitute, right? SUBTITUT. String object has no attribute called as substitute. Euron email temp. Okay. Euron email temp and then substitute Sudhanshu@Euron.1 and then receiver sskumar@gmail.com and then subject welcome to Euron and then like a body. Yeah, that's like looks good. Now let me parameterize it, right? Let me parameterize it basically. So here I'm going to parameterize it. So in a runtime, so I'm going to ask for the data. So maybe I can try to say that enter your email ID and it should not fail, by the way. So sender is equals to this. it should not fail. Let me use something different. No, I don't think that this should fail. And there is nothing wrong which I'm able to see over here. But still, let me check. So, but I don't think that I'm making any kind of a mistake in this particular place. Okay, so got the problem. The problem is like a very simple. Let me show you what was the problem. So basically there is a template that we have created, right? We should not override this one. So we should not override this one. So here what we can do is, so we can try to basically call this one, and we should not override. Maybe we can try to store it into some other variable. So let's suppose a result variable, I'm going to store it. Yeah, result variable, I'm going to basically store it. And so Euron email template, and then I'm going to store it. Okay. I should not run this, remove this one and remove this one, or delete it. It's better. Okay. Now, so this is my template which I have created, and then I'm just trying to run this particular template, as you can see. Now, so in the same template, I can try to parameterize it. I can try to say that try to take an input in a dynamic way. As you can see, now it's popping up. Enter your email ID. So SUDH @Euron.1, and this is the email ID which I'm trying to give. And now if I'm going to check what is the result, what are the value inside the result. So this is the result, right? This is the data it is going to send. So these templates are nothing but a kind of a skeleton which I'm trying to create so that, to whomever I'm going to send the mail in a dynamic way, I will be able to send the mail. So this is all about this string manipulation, guys. All of these chapters that we have discussed over here. So we are going to use all of these things again and again and again in our upcoming classes. Plus, I have already attached assignment inside your dashboard. So please go ahead and try to solve the assignments. Avoid using AI initially. After sometimes, obviously, you have to use AI. But yeah, so unless and until it's not necessary, don't use AI. So with that, guys, thank you so much, everyone, and take care. See you again in my next lecture.